Greg Schiano and staff hard at work putting together the trenches for Rutgers football and their potential AD hire coming soon. Let's get to it. Okay, long time no see. It feels like forever since we've talked some Rutgers athletics, some Rutgers sports. Kind of a quiet time of the year, I think. I don't know. This is about a year I'm doing this now. As last year at this time, I was talking Knicks and Pacers to kind of fill the void. Knicks frustrate the hell out of me. I'm pulling hair out of my head over the inability to play defense, with the exception of one game in this series against Indiana. They need to make some moves. That's a video for another day. Nonetheless, Rutgers doing a great job. They're going about constructing their position groups the way that they should, at least in my eyes, building from the inside out, building trenches. And we get another, as Ray Lucas says, another big fatty on Saturday. Yesterday, we land North Carolina 3-star offensive tackle, Tyrell Simpson. And Tyrell chose us over SEC teams. I mean, this is beating Florida, Kentucky, even Virginia Tech, ACC, and Liberty, who's, they're always pretty good amongst a bunch of other teams. We've talked about this before. Going in and beating, Boston College or Temple or Delaware is one thing. But beating the SEC is another. Ironically, Rutgers had the lowest odds of landing him, at least according to On3, was not the front runner, at least from an odds perspective. Nonetheless, we get another big man. He joins Jared Smith, South Jersey's Cameron Green. You can see how the offensive line is starting to take shape. We'll have Taj White, Zach Amlin, Moshe Jiwa, Dante Chin, John Stone, Kobe Asamoah, Nick Oliveria. So this is good stuff. We now have, everybody's rank is going to be different. So usually early on, we always do very well, and that'll probably change. But we're now, according to 247, have the 20th ranked recruiting class, and we now have two top, maybe more, I haven't checked them all, top 25 recruiting classes as rivals, which tends to lag behind in the star department and recruiting rankings. Also now has us top 25. So Tyrell, 6'7", 310. I've seen everything. ESPN had him listed at 335. I did see another listing at 320, but that's Joe Alt kind of size. Once again, we're getting those big guys. He has some athleticism, although there's a comp in here that I'll mention later that I'm not crazy about, but we'll talk about that in a second. So big guys that have some athleticism. He played, ironically, it's a natural fit. He played for North Brunswick in North Carolina, not New Jersey. He comes from a line of football players. His father was a defensive end at Maryland. His older brother, a linebacker at Duke. But he has, kind of an interesting backstory. He, since like grade school, he played on the defensive line. And he also loved basketball. So, he's going to be a big man that has some pretty good footwork. He went to a Virginia Tech camp and was encouraged by coaches to take snaps on offense. So that's what he did. And they liked his potential. So Virginia Tech was one, if not the first program to offer him. That's pretty good. Virginia Tech is not small potatoes. And then, after that visit, he became a regular on the offensive line, but because he played defense most of his time, he's not a finished product as an offensive tackle. So, I saw that, I think it was 247. He was kind of, his overall grade was closing in on a 4-star, and there's some thought that the reason why he's not a solid 4-star is because the position is still kind of new to him, but he has really, really good potential because of his size, his natural strength, his burst, his athleticism. And the thing that he'll need a little bit of work on is getting a little more balance in pass pro, and that's something that you kind of develop with more time and more repetitions. And from what I've read, he's made steady improvement from his junior year. I mean, that's not a lot of time playing offensive line. But, the potential, the big upside is there when you get off. Your second offer comes from Florida. That's good stuff. And, in addition to some of those other, SC schools mentioned, and Virginia Tech, Liberty, he got a bunch of offers from, smaller programs, Coastal Carolina, App State. App State sometimes has some good programs, Marshall, North Carolina A&T. But the one comp that I saw, and it might have been from one of his coaches, is former Jet, former Eagle. Is he still on the? I think he might have signed some. Mekhi Becton, who, went from being an underperforming first-round pick to actually doing pretty well with the Eagles, moving over to guard. These size comps are kind of obvious, but, I don't think Mekhi Becton was as fluid and athletic. And quite frankly, he didn't have that dog in him. He did do okay. His rookie year was actually his best year with the Jets. But Tyrell has more flexibility, more athleticism, and, he doesn't have stiff hips. He, defensive linemen have a term called being bendy. If you want to call an offensive lineman bendy, he's pretty flexible that way. So, nonetheless, he's going to be one of those guys that I think, as a developmental program, this is a guy that I feel will have a huge upside. And good luck to him. Hope he does well. Coming up to the banks, I saw some, quotes from him. Well, he's wondering why guys in other states are getting more attention than he is. So maybe this move to the Big Ten and to the Northeast will sit well with him. Good luck to Tyrell and some other minor, well, not really minor, but major news. AD search. Nothing, no names coming to light yet, but Politi just did something on how William F. Tate, our new president from LSU, is expected to begin meeting with candidates this coming week. And he is going to take a bigger role in the process. And, I talked about this when we hired him. A lot of people love we're getting a president from SEC, from LSU, from a winning program. And he sounded more like an athletic director than a school president, which, people kind of love. And I'm like, we don't want a school president who is an AD, but I think this could be a potential breath of fresh air for us. He's involved. He's not going to be like Barchi, who I kind of liked. I thought, raising the level of medical school was certainly a big deal and worth pursuing. he didn't dislike athletics, but he wasn't actively involved as well. But Tate is expected to take a big role, and that quote from him after he got hired, he wasn't brought up in this kind of world where participation trophies are okay. If you come in second place, you need to work harder to get the first place. So if he brings that energy, that passion, and that attitude into an AD search, there's going to be a lot of happy Rutgers athletics fans and supporters. The thinking is, across, just generally, and also from Polity, that it's the hire will likely come from the sports business world now with NIL and revenue sharing. You're going to need more of a professional GM than an athletic director. The days of being a high school coach and AD and moving up to the college level, I think, is kind of over. Polity talks about how this is a national trend. With the pressure on the NCAA to allow athletes to capitalize on their personal branding and their deals with booster collectives and corporations. The next athletic director, and I know this is a bone of contention with a lot of Rutgers watchers and fans and alumni, that we didn't have an athletic. We were slow to adapt to NIL and revenue sharing, and we didn't have a business manager as an athletic director that allowed us to fall behind, other Big Ten teams and other successful programs. And so I think it's a pretty good bet that we are going to be getting a clear-eyed, bottom line business and marketing guy. Student athletes are no longer student athletes. They are professional athletes whose tuition is paid for by the university and New Jersey taxpayers who are using the university as a platform to promote their personal brand, which universities kind of did for free forever, right? Giving tuition, room, board, free marketing, coaching, all the things, all the fees, everything that comes along with being a student. Nonetheless, I think Maryland just hired a business manager from, according to Polity's article, from the Atlanta Braves organization. So when Maryland is hiring professional sports franchises, business managers, you can absolutely see that that's the direction that we're going. Notre Dame as well, I think, did the same thing. So that's the trend we're going to be chasing after. We're usually a step behind, but that's that struggle that we have between being an actual academic institution that wants to recruit student athletes and one that is turning into a more corporatist entity that has to think about the bottom line and the marketing and the dollars first. Nonetheless, there we have it. Hope you enjoyed a terrific weekend. It's kind of a crappy weather. It's cold and rainy. Kind of partly sunny today. Kind of a nice day. A little bit chilly. Nonetheless, everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend and your upcoming week. And maybe we'll have some athletic director news, and we'll see you the next time.